Can please someone tell God that I am not his strongest soldier? Like, I'm losing battle every single fucking day. Like, how is this even possible? So, I lost my microphone and I can't find it anywhere. That's just great. And I haven't been posting a lot because I've been so depressed. So, today I'm gonna give you guys the honest review of having a depression. I was diagnosed with depression when I was 16, and I was on a bunch of different antidepressant. I think I've tried every kind of antidepressant in the world, but it took me a while to kind of like adjust my life with depression. And not many people will know that I have a depression because I'm such a like bubbly, outgoing person, like I am just always, like so fucking happy and just like rah. And nobody would actually know that how sad I get. And the full story is that I immigrated here back in 2014 without my parents. So I immigrated by myself. And I was with homestay family for 2.5 years. And I did my year five, six, seven, year five, six, seven, um, in yeah, like in homestay with homestay family. And during that time, I didn't have any friends. I didn't speak any English. I don't have my mom here. I don't have my dad here. I don't have any family members here. And I felt like I was like really depressed. I think that was my first time start having like a suicidal thoughts. And I was only 11 when I started having suicidal thoughts. It's a crazy thing to process. Um, I think during that time I was really lonely, and no matter, I coped with eating a lot during that time. Um, I was binge eating, and I had like an obsession with food because I felt like that kind of felt like filled my void almost. And my mom came in when I was about like 14. Yeah, around when I was 14. But my dad was still in Korea and we would go back and forth ever since then. Last year my dad came and my mom, and we actually have a home now, but until then I used to live in this like a small tiny granny flat with my mom for 8 years. Anyways, that back then I didn't get any help. Like, first of all, I didn't really speak English. Like, second of all, nobody knew that I was really sad, even though like the circumstances are pretty fucking clear, right? Like, she doesn't have her parents here, like she doesn't speak English, like her homestay families are not the greatest. I spent my days in my room or in school, and that was it. I would not go out, I would not socialize. I didn't really have those kind of connection or like barrier where I can just do all that, like be a normal kid. And when I was when I went to high school, that was the time that I started gaining friends and popularity, and that was also the time that I was exposed to drugs and alcohol and nicotine. Um, so I think in my early high school years, I was very I was very like distracted with other factors. I was having a boyfriend, I was partying a lot, and just doing normal teenager things. And during that time, I didn't know, like, during that time, I kept dealt with depression. And during that time, that was the time that I started self-harming when I like went to college. And I remember when I was in high school, people used to tell me like that I am doing it for the attention and that I am like attention seeker and all that. And now I think about it, that's a pretty shitty thing to say to somebody who's self-harming, right? I could never say that. But that was the comments that I was getting. And by the time that I was 16, I was exposed with like a lot of trauma. During that time, I went through a lot during that time, and that haunted me. Um, and when I was 16, there was like a big event kind of happened. I got kicked out of school. I lost all my friends, like basically, and I remember that time school basically asked me to not come into like school. They were like, stay home as long as you can. And I was like, okay. Um, but what happened in that school was like quite traumatic for me, and I could not get out of my house for I think solid 2 months. I was crying every day, and every time I would look in the corner of my room, it would like trigger my experience in schools, and I would like having a full-on panic attacks. And during that time, I remember going to doctors. I'm like, I'm feeling this way, and he was like, "Oh, sh- like she need help." And that's how I got referred to one of the mental health team that in my neighborhoods. Um, and I had like a session with psychiatrist and a counselor, and I basically told them whatever happened. I was like, "Well, I've been sad for a very, very long time, and I am currently can't get out of my house because I'm so fucking anxious. I am scared of the world. I don't think I can go out." So they diagnosed me with anxiety and depression. Such a common diagnosis, right? I'm like, and I have made an appeal multiple times and try to get through them again because I needed re-diagnosed. I was like, there's no way that I only have depression. I feel like there's a lot fucking going on here. And my case isn't severe enough. So, and the psychologist is a fucking expensive. They're like $500 each session, and I'm like, I cannot afford that. So, I am just, thriving life with the diagnosis that I got since I was 16. And during that time, after I got kicked out of school, I moved school. Um, and school was kind of aware of my mental health, and they referred me to counselor. And that was my first time actually like getting the help that I needed. Um, I think my first counselor, she wasn't great. I remember like during this time I was also going through like an eating disorder. Um, I was I was like purging and I was like vomiting, and I remember like one of the counseling sessions that I had with her, I was crying and bawling, and I was like, I am like so terrified of eating. Like I'm so terrified of gaining weight. So I had a Tim Tam this morning, and I am like suffering from the anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, like what if I was like, I ate a Tim Tam and I feel so guilty. I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna lose my shit. I'm like bawling my fucking eyes. And I remember she saying like, why don't you take a small bite of Tim Tam like once a while? And I was like, is this bitch for real? And like now I think back, I'm just kind of thinking, I was like, well, like I get why she said that. Obviously, I'm an adult now. I study counseling. I get where she was coming from, but she was really not understanding like the context. I was crying over eating a Tim Tam. That is a sign of something more like emotionally damaged thing. I'm like, she have a problem with controlling eating. And there was no progression. And I asked one of the mental health team like, can I change my counselor? And I had this lady who also like she changed my life. She was just such a sweetheart. And every time I was telling her about my bullshit, and she would just listen and actually just hear me out. And during the time I made a new friend group, I was really like far away from like taking any kind of drugs and alcohol. And honestly, like honestly, like that time was a struggle time, but I don't think I could have been this far without her. And you know, that was the reason why that I am studying what I study, which is Bachelor of Counseling. I'm in my last year. Um, yeah, like she changed my life, and that sounds so like corny, but like she had a very great impact in my life. And I know like most of the time when I was like writing a uni paper and when they asked like what was the reason why that you became a counselor, I always refer to her and the fact that she have brought that light back in my life. And from ever since being diagnosed till now, I was on and off medication multiple times. Um, I think main antidepressant that I was on was fluoxetine, and I felt like they were just not doing anything for me. Like obviously time to time I would feel happy, but I was like, I don't know if this is doing something. And I know like medication is only okay. Logic like with antidepressant, they're not the solution to the problem. The problem is the problem. And the problem is a lot more complex than you think. Just one medication is not going to help you out. You have to seek other barriers in order to make sure that you have a good health, right? Like you have to consider the biological factors, social factor, psychological factors, spiritual factors, all of that. And you know, I with that like antidepressant specifically, I felt like that was not really helping me biologically. I was like, well, I've been on it for so long and I guess it haven't done any damage. And that kind of shifted until last year. Last year, December, I was going through an insane depression. I was feeling so depressed like every single day. And during this time, I was going through a breakup that I initiated. I know, I'm like, I left it, but I was like, fuck, I really like miss this person. But like, this is not working. Like, this person's not good for me. And going through that breakup have done a lot of damage for me. I was so fucking depressed. And I made a bad decision. And also during that time, I got into a car accident and I had a concussion, and that is still affecting me apparently. I'm gonna talk about that in like another episode. But I got into a car accident during that time as well, and that was not like planned. Like I didn't like plan to do this, and I remember like nurses were like, did you do this on purpose? And I'm like, no, I swear I want to live. Like, I know I'm like, I can be depressed, but like, fuck, I want to live. And I got into a fucking car accident. And after that, I remember like being really confused for like on who I am. And I was just really questioning myself a lot. I was like, fuck, who was I before? And beginning of no, like maybe end of February, I came to realization that I need to change. Like I need to heal. Like I can't do this anymore. I I always was somebody who actively like seeks support ever since that I ever got my counseling in high school. And especially like doing the counseling degree, I at the end of it last year, I felt this ginormous shame that I just finished my second year of Bachelor of Counseling. Like, I should be better than this. And I feel like there was no exit. There, like, I cannot get out of this depression. I'm just so fucking sad. And my sadness doesn't look like a sadness. It's very subtle, quiet, and dark. And there's a time period that I will get into my dark space and nobody will know. And I think that's a really scary version of depression. Like, everybody that I know that who has depression and who suffers from depression, they don't look like they are depressed. But we experience and we go through it, and it feels like I'm surviving every day and I'm not living day by day. And one of the tendencies that I have in my depression is actually I can't do anything. I can't wake up. That is one of the things that I notice now, like after that long of the period of having depression, I can't get up. The amount of times that I had to miss uni because I just can't get up. And I would remember this is one of the day that I was like actually just destroyed. I couldn't go to pee because I was so depressed. I I I couldn't eat as well. And you know what? I am somebody who's very privileged. I am someone who has a lot in life. I have roof over my head, a good roof too. I have a I have a both my parents present right now, even though, there was like a time period they were quite absent. They care. I have good friends. Boyfriends, not really great, but there was few that was actually very like supportive. And I keep asking myself, what am I depressed about? And when I'm depressed, it's not just depression, it's also anxiety comes along with me. And that anxiety is so suffocating. I think this is one of the so during this time I journaled a lot. I was like, fuck, I want to be better. I want to get out of this mindset. And I remember journaling every single day. And the most of the thing that I mentioned was, I feel like I'm drowning. I am drowning every single day. As soon as I wake up until I close my eyes, I can't breathe. And I am trying my best to survive day by day. When will it end? And reality is that this is not going to end. But there is a hope that things might be slightly better. Depression doesn't go away once you're just fine. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't go away. But you learn to adapt and cope with it. So ever since my car accident, I realized like I am not getting better. I need like help. And I remember like kind of voicing that out to my doctor, and he was like, "Oh, Chin, it sounds like you're going through like a big trauma." And I'm like, "Does it? Come on, it's not that bad." And he was like, "No, like this is bad." I was like, "Oh, well, are you gonna help or what?" And then he gave me a new depressant, and I'm taking one at night and during the day. And the side effect is that I might have muscle weakness, and it's called like over serotonin syndrome or something. It's something like that, the where you like there's just too much SSRI. And I was like, fuck, as long as this is gonna keep me going. And I as you notice, I am laughing a lot throughout this video, is because like my coping mechanism is humor. No wonder why I'm so fucking funny. But Anyways, yeah, so having a depression fucking sucks. Like I wish I was happy like every day, but I'm not. And that's also okay. I'm in my like monk mindset where I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is. Life is continuous suffering, and I just have to adapt to it. And I would give about 1 out of 10 of having depression because it kind of sucks. It sucks. It stops you from like a lot of things. And having anxiety, like negative fucking 5,000 out of 10. Like, I think having anxiety is worse than having a depression. Like, depression is like, it's mild, you know, you don't feel like you're being chased after by, like, by somebody. But I feel like anxiety, like, I feel like there's like a threat everywhere. And I'm like, oh my God. And like, nothing is a fucking threat, right? Like, I am not dying. I'm safe. But I don't feel safe. Yeah. um, so those of you out there having a depression, I also want to know, like, hear about your story. I feel like this is not talked about enough, and this is something quite like I swear, like everybody has it, right? This is the generation that suffers the most from mental illness out of all the other generation who went through war, which I find it pretty hard to believe. You know, I was like talking to my colleague, and I was like, you know, I feel like the COVID actually fucked us up. Like, of course, it made us like cough and like rah, and then like infect other people. People died, but also I feel like it had a giant depression inside as well. Or maybe it's just the world. The world is fucking sick. At the moment, I am doing better. But also I am taking 2 antidepressants, and I'm also seeing like 2 different counselors, one from women's domestic violence and one from school. And I have internal, external, cultural supervisors who kind of look after me. And I also have like a whole, like, there's like a mental health team in my university that um kind of found out about me. And then I was like, you know, I need help. And they were like, oh, Chin, are you alright? So they call me like once a month, like just to check up that I'm still alive and still thriving. And yeah, and it's just such a blessing to have all these support. And I'm like, I'm so grateful. Like my friends, my school. Yep. I can't say family because like they don't know how to support me. And that's also okay. Like it's just a different generation. But sometimes I can't tell them like I'm really depressed. I don't know if you can tell. Like I haven't spoken to you guys like for 3 days. But yeah. So again, can someone tell God, like, I'm losing battle every single day, stop giving me this shit? Like, I need some break. And on top of that, I have, like, what, 4 papers this semester, and fuck. Fuck, I can't wait to get the fucking paper and just leave. I am ready to graduate. And I've been saying this ever since my first year as well. Like, I can't wait to fucking graduate, guys. It is so close. So close. And I'm gonna leave this fucking country, because what the fuck? Anyways, thank you for listening again. Today was not very. I think this is good because it's like a human to human experience, and that is the most precious experience you can have. But I hope you guys enjoyed listening to my depression. I probably didn't say a lot because I want to make this light as possible because it's like such a trigger warning. Trigger warning, like, you know, like that topic. So yeah. Have a great night. I hope to see you in next, I don't know, like 2 months. If I survive. But thank you.